table. Make yourself comfortable. So, how's, school going? Great. So you feel like it's getting better? Okay. But you're still struggling with, writing and proofreading and grammar? Okay. Alright. How are your grades in your English class? Struggling a bit due to the grammar and proofreading and things like that? Okay. Well, we could definitely work on that today. Is there anything else that you'd like to work on? Okay, so proofreading. And what do you think makes it, difficult for you? All the rules, yeah. Makes sense, yeah. That definitely makes sense even, no one knows every single rule there is, so give yourself a break. You'll learn with time, but I'm here to help you. So I know you mentioned that, you're having difficulty with proofreading and you brought some examples of your papers. Okay, great. So what I thought we could do was just read this together, okay? And then we'll mark up the areas that we think we need to change, okay? So if you hear anything, just, mention it and we'll write it down, okay? Because I want to see your first thoughts, okay? Alright, so NSW Transport Minister Andrew Constance has defended the decision to buy 10 new ferries despite the fact people will need to move seats when they undergo some city bridges. Mr. Constance said critics needed to take a chill pill about the fact passengers on the new River-class ferry would have to move to the lower deck as vessels approached the Camellia Railway Bridge and Gasworks Bridge on the Parramatta River. The 10 new river cats are due to be in operation by the end of the year, and unlike the ferries already servicing the Parramatta, the circular quay route, passengers will be able to travel on their roofs. Right. Roofs, yes. So roofs would be R-O-O-F-S, not R-O-V-E-S. So that's, roofs would be much better. Good find. Alright, do you see anything else? So we need to title, capitalize Transport Minister. Because that's a title. Good. Okay. What about this sentence? It says, has defended the decision to buy 10 new ferries despite the fact. So those are kind of two different clauses, right? So we're going to want to put a comma right there. So we're going to separate those two clauses. And then in the middle of the sentence, there's the word 10. We actually want to use numbers over 9 should actually be written using numerals. So we're actually going to change the word form 10 to 10. Does that make sense? It's a little confusing. So it's AP style, so you're always going to do that when you're doing AP writing. Okay? Any questions? Do you see anything else? So take a chill pill is italicized. So for that, we're going to want to, we don't need to do that, okay? That's incorrect. So you're not going to italicize quotes, okay? You're just going to leave them in the quotes. Alright. So about the fact passengers on the new river class ferried would have to, so ferried isn't even a word, right? So we're going to want to change ferried to ferries, because ferried would be the past tense verb, and that's not a verb in that sentence. Okay. Alright, so we'll change that. Okay, so do you see anything else? Alright, I'll give you a clue. So, the 10 new river cuts are due to be in operation by the end of the year, unlike the ferries already servicing. So, already here is separated as already. We want to make sure that we put those words together. Already is an adverb meaning before the present time. Okay? Alright, any questions with that? Okay, so what I'm going to do now this time, might get a little more challenging. I'm going to read you what we're working on, and then I'm going to have you go and make changes on your own, and then we'll go through those together. Okay? So, the 2019 final dividends to be paid to our Rio Tinto Limited shareholders will be fully franked. The board expects Rio Tinto Limited to be in a position to pay fully franked dividends for the foreseeable future. On April 16th, 2020, we will pay the 2019 final dividend to holders of ordinary shares and holders of ADRs on the register at the close of business on March 6, 2020. The record date. The ex-dividend date is March 5th, 2020. Rio Tinto plc shareholders may choose to receive their dividend in Australian dollars, and Rio Tinto Limited shareholders may choose to receive their pounds in sterling. Currency conversions will be based on the pound, sterling, and Australian dollar exchange rates 5 business days before the dividend payment date. Rio Tinto plc and Rio Tinto Limited shareholders must register their currency elections by 24 March 2020. We will operate our dividend reinvestment plans for the 2019 final dividend. See our website, riotinto.com, for details. Rio Tinto plc and Rio Tinto Limited shareholder selection. Notice for the dividend reinvestment. Plans must be received by 24 March 2009. Purchases under the dividend reinvestment plan are made on or as soon as practicable after the dividend payment date at prevalent market prices. There is no discount available. So what I want you to do is you're going to go through on your own and you're going to make any changes that you think should be changed, okay? And then we'll go through it together, okay? So this is a little bit harder than the other one. But even just reading some of those sentences out loud, you could tell that it didn't, sound right, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and just take a look at these, mark up anything that you see, okay? And I'll just wait for you. If you have any questions too, I'll be here. So 16 April 2020. I would just look at the format of that if you need a hint. Just think about, the AP guidelines and how you would format that, okay? So it's a little bit trickier. Yeah, you got it. Correct. Good job. PLC is the name of a company, so Rio Tinto PLC is the company. So it's a specific company. Yeah, you do need to capitalize it. Good. So that P, Rio Tinto PLC, all needs to be capitalized. Good. And if you're unsure about anything, just underline it and we can talk about it too. Okay. So you have a question about this? So dividend reinvestment plans, it's not really a specific name, right? So they did capitalize all of them. So do you think that needs to be capitalized? Yeah, it doesn't. So this D can change to a lowercase d, this R can change to a lowercase r, and P can change to a lowercase p. Good find. Alright, let's keep looking together. Again, here's another dividend reinvestment plan. We're not going to capitalize that D, or that R, or that B. Okay? Alright, so I still see a few more errors, so I want you to reread it again. Okay? And, if you have questions, I'm here. Okay? Yeah, so this is in parentheses when it probably doesn't need to be, okay? So when you see in parentheses here, that can actually be used with a comma, okay? And then here, take a look at the sentence. The ex-dividend date is 5 March 2020. So if you look at that one, ex-dividend is a compound modifier, so it actually requires a hyphen. It doesn't have that right now. So you're adding X to a word, so you're going to want to add a hyphen in between X and dividend. Does that make sense? Okay. Alright. This one, take a look at pounds sterling here. So it says choose to receive theirs in pounds sterling. And pounds sterling, you're going to want to think about, so let's do that again. So monetary units should be capitalized under AP writing. So you're going to want to, actually shouldn't be, sorry. So that was capitalized, you're going to want to make those lowercase, okay? Does that make sense? Okay, so this one's also capitalized, so go ahead and change that to a lowercase p, lowercase s. So we talked about this in the last one. So in this one, it's the number, the numeral 5 is written out, but you're only going to write anything above 10 as an actual number, okay? So for 5, you're going to want to write in word form. So we're going to change that. Okay, so we'll operate our dividend reinvestment plans for the designated dividend. This one, the parentheses needs to go after the S, so the Tinto Limited Shareholders election. So it needs to go after the S because it refers to the election notice distributed to the shareholders rather than the notice for election shareholders. So a possessive apostrophe is necessary, and shareholders is more than one, so you're putting it after that. Okay? Any questions about that? Okay. Alright, I think you did really well with that. I'm going to have you go ahead and look at this one. This is a bit harder. So I'll go ahead and read it to you. And then I will have you edit and revise it and make any changes. And again, I'm here to help you, okay? Alright, so follow along with me. Marketers have always had to juggle two seeming contradictory goals: making their brands distinctive and making them central in their category. Central brands such as Coca-Cola and soft drinks and McDonald's and fast food are those that are the most representative of their type. They're the first ones to come to mind, and they serve as a reference point for comparison. These brands shape category dynamics, including consumer preferences, pricing, and the pace and dimension of innovation. Distinctive brands such as Tesla in cars and Dos Equis in beer stand out from the crowd and avoid direct competition with widely popular central brands. Just striking the right balance between centrality and distinctiveness is critical. because a company's choices influence not just how the brand will be perceived, but how much of it will be sold and at what price, and ultimately how profitable it will be. And yet, marketers have lacked the tool needed to get this balance right. Traditionally, companies have analyzed brand positioning and business performance separately to locate gaps in the market and gauge how people feel about their brands. Marketers have used perceptual positioning maps, which typically represent consumers' perceptions of brands or products on opposing dimensions, such as budget versus premium or spicy versus mild, to assess performance. They have used a different set of strategic tools that map or measure brands on yardsticks, such as market growth, rate, and profitability. So I'm going to give you this, and give you the pen, and I'm going to have you actually, work on this on your own. And then when you're done, I want you to come back, and we're going to go over what you found, okay? So I want to see what you can do on your own now, okay? So here you go. Go ahead and put this right, and let me know whenever you're finished. I'll give you a few minutes, okay? I'm just going to take some notes on what we did today. Doing okay? Okay. And how are you feeling about this? Do you feel like it's easy, hard, okay? You need more practice? You feel okay? More practice, okay. I put the same thing. I think if you are practicing more, I think, the easier this is going to get. So whenever you're ready, feel free to come back and just sit by me, and then we'll go over this together, okay? You ready? Okay, so I have the same article, and let's take a look at it together. So marketers have always had to juggle two seemingly contradictory goals. So seemingly, it's actually incorrect. Did you find that? You did? Good. So seemingly, which means seems like, so you're not going to want to say seeming, you're going to want to say seemingly, okay? So it means seems like, that's desired term. And then it's a contradictory goal. Well, you can't have a goal, you need to have at least two items there, okay? Alright, and then here we've got McDonald's. You're going to want to capitalize that because it is a proper noun. Good find with that one. So these brand shape category dynamics, including customer preferences. So here, did you add a comma after preferences and pricing? And why did you do that? Okay, good, yeah, because you're listing things. I feel like you do a very nice job with commas. Right, and the base interaction of innovation. So yeah, you didn't think that made sense. Dimension didn't really make sense to you. Okay. Yeah, so I think it would make sense under other circumstances, but in this case, it's incorrect. So it makes more sense to take direction. Okay, so striking the right balance between sensuality and distinctiveness is critical. So it was acritical. Acritical actually means not critical, so you're not going to want to put that. And yet marketers have like tools here to get the balance right. I think you're doing excellent. So tools, yeah, you're gonna want to say tools, not tool, because tool is singular. It could make sense, but they're more likely using more than one tool, right, to get things right. Okay, so you said to look at gaps and the got change there. Excellent. So yeah, it seems to be an error from the original document, right? 2 should be either lowercase or the colon should be replaced with the full stop. Very good. Alright, and then the last one you found was the market share. So yeah, this is kind of where you have to be familiar with the industry a bit. So what that means is, growth rate and profitability are not both metrics, whereas market is not. So therefore, market should have been flagged and replaced with the correct market share. That makes sense. But you found it, you circled it, so that meant that you knew something was up with that. Okay, so I recommend that you keep practicing this for next week. So I'm going to write this down in my notes. And, bring your papers from class to meet with me next time, and then we'll go over those together so it's more realistic and you can see. That's going to allow me to kind of see what, you're specifically struggling with, because this isn't really, this is just practice, but I don't know what you need help with, okay? So bring those next time you come, and I will see you next week. Have a wonderful